Recently, I have taken up a new role as a junior backend developer, and I decided to start a new journal to keep track of my self-learning in order to optimize it and also to motivate me for a fresh new start. So if you're a notebook hoarder like me, you probably have a bunch of eligible notebooks lying around in your house. But of course, a new job requires a new special notebook. I put a lot of thought behind what I have needed in the past to note down and keep track of, as I worked for 1.5 years as a software engineer intern. And this time I think I will go about it in a more organized way. In this video we will set up my new work journal together. That will inspire growth and will motivate me to actually sit down and do the self-learning. I'll show you what I use it for, and we can decide if it's still relevant in the increasingly digitalized work environment. But I think I will be able to figure it out. Good morning. Today is very cloudy, but I'm actually vibing with this weather lately. And today is a big day because I am going notebook shopping, which is one of my favorite activities. And I don't know how this happened. I am a notebook hoarder. I always had notebooks that I didn't use because I was waiting for that special kind of use, you know what I mean? And yesterday I found the need to have a new notebook for my new job so I can learn a little bit about backend before I start. And I didn't have a single empty notebook to use. So that's the plan for today. We're gonna go buy a notebook. I'm gonna take you with me notebook shopping, and then I will show you some things about how to keep notes and start a new work journal. I've recently started journaling also. I have a different notebook for that. And today I saw some very useful videos on journaling from Christian Jones, who I love as a creator, and hopefully as a writer I get to read her book soon. And also Jared Henderson, who really answered my question in a very short video about what to write about when you are journaling. I've been writing stream of consciousness entries for the past days, but I find myself falling into a rabbit hole of repeating myself, and I don't want to get bored of it. So I was researching ideas, and both Christy and Jared gave me very, very good ideas. So yeah, I just came off a meeting. I have to do some work, and then we are gonna head to the stationery shop and buy our new notebook. Back from a little notebook shopping adventure, more like self-care moment, to be honest. I got this. You can see it very well because it's still in the plastic wrap. Let me get that fixed. So this is it. This is a color. I think it's very pretty. Purple. Oh, sorry, got too excited. Purple is like my favorite color, so I'm really happy that I found this like soft purple. I like all purples, honestly, but I feel like this one has some calm vibes. It reminds me of lavender. My sister helped me pick some journal ASMR for you here. Had my sister help me pick if I want. I decided to go with bullets after talking it out with my sister. Thing with Legami notebooks is that they usually will have the same size and color in various different types of pages. So you will see here the dots obviously are the bullets, but they also have lines or empty. I was leaning towards empty because obviously being in computer science and brainstorming a little bit how I really like to do diagrams and mind maps and stuff, so I really like the freedom to do as you please with the layout. But my sister made a good point that bullets don't really limit you in that, and they provide a kind of visual guideline so you don't always write skewed, and also for the diagrams it can be quite practical. With bullet journals, because I used to be really into bullet journaling and I took it very seriously, I know that I will fall into a little bit of perfectionism, which is not what I wanted initially for this notebook, because it's gonna be for work. I also bought this really cute ruler, and it's so cute. Look, it's a little paw. Maybe I will use it also as a bookmark in the notebook, although it does have a built-in one here. So yeah, I'm gonna use this for my lines. So time to go into what we're gonna put inside the notebook. I do have to do some YouTube stuff now for about an hour and a half, but then we're gonna get to studying for the future backend role, and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna put in my notebook and how I organize my studies. This is not something super prepared because I hadn't prepared to film it, and also I am far from an expert in anything backend, but I'm pretty good at organizing study material, I think, and I hope. So definitely if you're in a similar position, making a new beginning in a new course or a new job or whatever, you just want to start fresh, I think this will be a nice motivator to get organized and find what works better for you. Here we are, a few days later than planned because of some difficulties I had with my family. I was planning to start sketching out the layout of the notebook before I start work, but as of today I've already been working for 1 day at the company, which was mostly setting up my new laptop, so I don't think I really needed my notebook at the time. With that said, we are just in time, and of course, setbacks will always happen. It's never too late to start. In my previous job as a software engineer intern, I had the messy catch-all notebook that still did its job. I find that putting things on paper helps me think more creatively than I would if I was typing them. And of course, there is more freedom to draw and visualize information. So in terms of content, I will keep these helpful staples. I will just go about it in a more organized way. I think introducing aesthetics to it will also motivate me to show up after a long day or week of work. This is one of the notebooks that we sold on our final year of high school. The profits were going to go directly into our field trip. So it has some sentimental value, I guess, even though this picture in the front is horrible. I am somewhere here. Yeah, and that next to me on my left is my current boyfriend that we live together, but next to him was his then girlfriend. So that's kind of funny that we are all sitting there all together. Also, what am I wearing? I'm dressed head to toe in, I don't know what you call this color, military green or whatever. There are a few things that I want to improve during this initial period, which I have set to be about 6 months. So with that time frame in mind, I have made a list of what I would like to see myself improving at during those 6 months. I plan to commit at least 4 hours a week to self-study backend development. I think this is a realistic goal to set, especially considering that I will be doing a lot of research and learning during my actual work hours as well. I mostly work with diagrams because they help me retain the information. There are lovely tools for making diagrams online like Excalidraw and Lucidcharts, and when the goal is to share them among a team of people, then they can be really useful to have digitalized and also much clearer for other people to understand. But for personal use, when I need to understand the concept better, or I'm the only one that's going to come back to them, I opt for pen and paper. Because if I try the online tools, I let the perfectionist in me come out, and since everything is already so neat and looks like it's been edited, I feel like it limits my creative process and retention. I think I plan to keep a wiki on Notion as well, but useful shortcuts and guidelines and principles are always useful to have in a notebook, because then you can pull it up without having to switch tabs, and it's always there in front of you. It's a real struggle not to be a perfectionist, especially with this journal, as I've been a fan of bullet journaling in the past. But then again, I was never perfect with my original bullet journal either. And at the end of the day, it really helped me organize before I implemented my digital systems, which are my go-to now. So I plan to go the same route by mixing some more aesthetic pages with the more messy, in the moment kind of notes. After all, there's plenty of space for everything. I hope we can get over the horrible lighting. It's getting pretty late and I need to film this really quick. So this is what we have to deal with. Ignore the wet hair. Some thoughts about the first week at work. Today marks my 7th day, so it's been a full week, and I found that keeping the notebook actually did help me in retaining some information. Obviously, I didn't know exactly how it will be, because this is my first proper development job in a big company that has a lot of internal information. I did get some insider info on what other people in my team use, and I got some really useful tips on how to create some easy to grab files in my computer that I can just input a shortcut and have them show up, and check some information like shortcuts, quick naming conventions and things like that. But as I said previously, when it comes to diagrams, I really want the paper version as well. So I've seen that so far, the way I've used it is I will try to learn a concept or study a piece of code line by line maybe, or I will just read a wiki section, and then I will try to summarize this information on my work journal. So after that, if some of that information I think I want to have digitally as well, I will copy it over to a markdown file. But other than that, it has really helped, and I didn't expect to kind of plan itself out and to start having a structure in the journal so early in the process. But it's really been very intuitive, and I've managed to get over the perfectionism. I just try to keep the color scheme consistent, and that creates some kind of aesthetic look to it. Either way, I can show you some pages. So you can see here how I managed to put some information together with some diagrams that I can easily grab when I need. Obviously, even though I set up the shortcuts and I've made it very easy for myself to pull up the markdown sheets that I created, having a notebook that you can have open at the same time as your VS Code, even though I have 3 screens, sometimes it can get overwhelming with how much information you have on the screen. So it's always useful to have it in a notebook that you can just move around and rearrange and look at whenever you want. All in all, if I had to summarize, I definitely recommend getting a journal dedicated for your work, especially as a junior software developer, because I don't know about other people's experience, but my first week has been almost solely studying, revisiting concepts like object-oriented programming and other useful things. So it's been really similar to learning in university, and for that I think note-taking is a very, very effective way to retain the information that you're consuming. Another use I found that I didn't expect to is that for my first couple of tasks, because they were a bit more complicated than I expected, and I wanted to make sure that I fully understand the problem before I tried to solve it, it helped me a lot to write down task 1 or task 2. It kind of has a nice feeling to it, knowing that this is my first ever task for this company, or my second task, which is a bit more complicated, and then making sure that I have the problem down and that I understand it well and that I understand the information that goes behind it. So for example, if it's a problem with throttling network requests, I want to make sure that I have understood what Kubernetes is and how it manages the instances of the application. Then once I know that and I check it with my mentor that it's correct, I can go and start solving, having a full grasp of the problem behind it. So it was really helpful for, let's say, brainstorming the understanding of a problem and then also brainstorming solutions, even though at this stage in my professional development, I get a lot of hints and help from others about what the solution is going to be, and I just have to implement it. Takebacks from this experience is that you want your work journal to work for you instead of the other way around. So you really want to put in there whatever you think you will go back to, or whatever you think is helping you retain the information, even if you will never look at it again. The pages are only for you to fill, so nobody will ever judge you about what you put in your own work journal, and probably they will never read it as well. Having a journal to keep notes can help you be more organized and look more organized, and it can also help when you have a meeting or you go to your mentor to ask a question. If you have a reference diagram or a reference notes, then they can get a better picture of what your thought process was until then and be able to help you more effectively. Editing Bella here from the future. I just wanted to add that after I filmed this video, I think the next day, I actually got a compliment on the fact that I was carrying a notebook at work, and I was actually expecting for it to be a bit weird in the tech industry to carry around a notebook and write things down, because typing them is so much more efficient, and then you can share them and you can apply styling, or you can even write code that can be compiled, while when you write code on the paper, even code snippets, is just code on the paper. But no, he actually defended it, and he said that it seems like a very good practice, and it seems that I'm very organized and thorough. And yeah, that was nice. The journey of a junior developer is filled with imposter syndrome, but in my experience, it's also filled with people that are genuinely interested in helping you and seeing you become a better developer. After all, a company that has hired you as a junior developer has made an investment that you will become one day a very adept developer that will help them grow and improve their product. So you're not an imposter, you're someone who is making their way to becoming the developer they've dreamed to be, and that takes effort and time. If you would like to see more content from a junior developer that is just starting out and is going through the same vicious cycles of imposter syndrome and learning whatever there is to learn, then feel free to leave a comment with a suggestion of what you would be interested in seeing. I will definitely make some, because I have some ideas of things I want to talk about, including that shortcut script for bringing up cheat sheets. So if you would like to see such videos, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of them. And thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!